actually afternoon. It's 1:52 in the afternoon on Wednesday. I ended up having a really late night. I wasn't doing very good emotionally. I made the decision yesterday that I am gonna go back to work full time, and I don't actually feel ready to do that. But I know I'm gonna get a lot of like pressure if I continue to stay out. So, welcome to America, where you have to basically decide between paying your bills or taking care of your health. Aren't we all so glad we're here? But I woke up, and this is how this usually goes. I woke up about 5 minutes ago, and I feel okay. I still feel like my hand is still numb and dystonic. That's my default setting. My feet are still numb. And when I say like numb, I mean they have zero sensation on the bottom. In my hand, I don't have any sensation in my thumb. So that's fun. I think I have some brain fog. I feel, but I can't really tell because I just woke up. But I'm assuming I'm probably gonna have some brain fog today. My vision's very blurry. Everything seems kind of out of focus. Mild tics are already starting. My back is really stiff, probably from how much I was ticking yesterday. But like I can just really feel like in between my shoulders. So usually when I wake up, because it's like a window of decency with my symptoms, I try to get as much done as possible. So I need to go take my meds, and I need to make breakfast. And then I'll figure out what I need to do from there. But yeah, I'm not sure what else I feel like I need to get done. I do have some client stuff I need to look at. If you don't know, I am an online coach. I have my CPT and my degree in anatomy and physiology, and in doing that has been one of the only things to keep me sane through this whole process. Because before this happened, I always kind of felt like I worked below capacity, as in like reference to other people. I felt like it was always harder for me to work a full-time job without sleeping. Like literally I would wake up, my shift was from noon to 8, so I would literally like wake up at 11 o'clock, rush out to put on my uniform, rush out the door, be at work, get back home from work, sit down for an hour or so until like 9, and then work out and make dinner and then go to bed. Throughout the week I literally don't do anything else. And I've always wondered like how other people do, like how even people who work the shifts that I work, how do you wake up and go to the grocery store and stuff before you actually have to be at work? And like, how do you not sleep for 12 plus hours a day? Like, I thought there was something wrong with me, and there is. So there's no shock there. But that's always kind of been my struggle. Even whenever I was a personal trainer in person, I would have to be at work from 5, like I'd usually have my first client at like 5:30, in the morning, and then I would have like my last client at like 11. So then, and I wouldn't have another client until usually like 3. So I would go home in the middle and drive the half hour, or not even sometimes. I would sleep in my car, but I would sleep the 2 to 3 hours in my car. And like, it literally feels like sometimes I have to pick between like sleeping or eating. And a lot of the times that was how that went. And I don't have kids. I can't imagine the people who have this disorder and have children. That has got to be very hard, and my heart goes out to those people. I mean, I even feel guilty for my dogs most of the time because I feel like they're not getting the love and activity that they deserve. So I can't imagine how people cope with this while having children. That's gotta be a lot. But I am going to head downstairs. I am having hot flashes right now. I'm sweating, and I just had a catatonic moment. Definitely have some brain fog today. Something that I have found to be very helpful is that I keep my mobility aids, like my wheelchair and my Landstraf canes are over here in the corner. I found it helpful like to make sure that I kind of leave them here at the bottom of the steps, because my first goal in the morning is to get downstairs. So, because that's where I keep my medications, and so I can make coffee and breakfast. So I do try to keep them down here, like at the bottom of the stairs, so that I can get to them as quickly as possible. I think that's kind of all I'm wanting to say. So let's see how I do making breakfast this morning. I'm in the mood for eggs and spinach and mushrooms, I think. So what I'm gonna do is, before I even get over there, because getting onto carpet's kind of challenging, is grab the pan that I'm gonna need, because I keep the pans right here. Actually, I'm gonna do French toast. If anybody has like wheelchair accessories for like things, that would be an awesome recommendation. I didn't think that I would ever be grateful for having like a small apartment, but my apartment is actually set up perfectly to be like used in a wheel, because like you'll see my kitchen's like a circle, and it's perfect for life for me right now. I could definitely live without the stairs though. The other thing that I have found really helpful is for me to leave the things that I need first thing in the morning to like function right here on the counter. So this is just my wrist brace because I do have cysts inside of my scaphoid that put me at a fracture risk. And I have a lot of pain associated with them, and because of the FND we can't do surgery. So I try to keep it protected, especially because I'm such a fall risk right now. If I was like paralyzed and couldn't function at all, I don't know how people do it. I would lose my mind. And the only reason I'm able to like open and close my hands is because of the muscle relaxer that I'm on. I'm kind of scared for what it means when I'm off the muscle relaxer if the FND doesn't decide to reside. I'm kind of curious. I try to remind myself to have like soft touches on things because it seems like the more effort I put behind holding something, the harder it is for me to unlock my hand. I know these are not the best vitamins, but they are what I have right now. It looks really pretty out, and it's been kind of a while since I've gone outside to just enjoy being outside, so that might be on the agenda today. That might be the one thing that I decide to do. My head is really hurting today. I have like a pressure headache, like my headband's too tight. Does anybody know how to descale their Keurig? Because I swear to God, my Keurig Mini, it's like, ever since the first time I use it, it has like the descale thing on, and it's clean. I clean it all the time. And now that I'm going to the fridge, I'm going to get everything that I need to make my coffee and the French toast so that I can just go to the fridge once. The cabinet being closed just messed with my eardrum. Ow! I also was having my mom like make me coffee creamer for a while, and I just can't do it now, so I'm back to drinking the cancer. So, I mean, let me see. Like, why do you need to add all this crap to stuff? I just don't understand that. Like, why does there need to be a bunch of stuff in all of our stuff? Okay, now that I'm in here, I'm going to use my counters to stand up and move around. And I swear to God, every time I've cracked an egg since this happened, I always get shell. Every time. I don't know why. It's so annoying. And normally I would be tracking this, but since I've made it so many times, it's already like in my LifeSum app, and I use LifeSum to track all of my food. And I make a lot of like homemade stuff, so that can be, let me wait. So sorry, my memory card actually ran out and I didn't know it. And I just finished making myself French toast. Something that I really struggle with is not kind of zoning out when I'm doing things. So I tend to burn my food, which is fine in the grand scheme of things. I mean, it is what it is. But what I try to do is kind of sit my wheelchair here in case, but I actually like get up and walk around the room and get into the cabinets and stuff so I can keep that mobility. Jade, what are you upset about? What are you upset about? But now I need to take myself over to my dining room table and have breakfast. So I'm gonna back out my wheelchair and switch to my canes. So now I've switched to my canes and I'm going to put everything away and take everything to the table. I do use real syrup because if I'm gonna enjoy something, it's gonna be syrup. I'll come back for you. Now, for those who don't know what functional neurological disorder is, it's basically a disorder where there's a miscommunication happening in your brain to the rest of your nervous system. So your neurons are misfiring. They don't really know exactly what causes it, and there's no like quick fix for it. There really is no fix for it. And it's like intermittent. So some days are better than others. Sometimes I'll have very minimal symptoms, usually sensation. So my sensation in my hands and feet is most affected. Sometimes I'm sensory sensitive, sometimes I'm not. Sometimes I have tremors, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I have tics and I stutter, and sometimes I don't. A lot of it depends on how much I've exerted myself, how much sleep I've gotten, how I'm eating. I have now moved over to my couch because I am exhausted. I'm still sweating. I turned my air on to 67 to see if that helps. I think that it's the baclofen. It's a side effect that I've kind of always had with the baclofen. But I'm sweating profusely, but like my skin feels really clammy. So I turned the air on. I'm going to probably turn on Love is Blind and just kind of go to sleep, most likely. So that gave me, it's 3:10. So I've been up for like an hour and a half. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I only got like 8 hours of sleep last night, which is the normal average, but I've noticed I do need like 10 to 12. And my feet are really hurting. I don't think I've shown you my feet yet, which, sorry for anybody that doesn't like feet, but like that's what my feet look like. They're like really crunched up, and like the more I try to use them, the worse they get. So that's what makes it so hard for me to walk. I have a hard time like extending my toes and flexing my ankle. So it's been fun, and it hurts. It's like really like, imagine like the worst Charlie horse that you can't stretch out, and then like when you do stretch it out, it feels like you're being electrocuted. So that's fun and manageable, and I'm starting to feel like my throat starting to squeeze a little bit. It's not like an allergic reaction to anything, it's just the dystonia. I've noticed it's kind of like moving into that area of things. So I'm losing steam. I'm definitely like in the process of falling asleep, and I get these like dramatic fatigue attacks, so I need to lay down before I fall down. I will check back in with you when I wake up. It's now 7:42, and I slept for like an hour and a half. I woke up around 5, and I haven't really moved. My feet are on fire. So if you've ever experienced like neuropathic pain, I genuinely feel like I'm holding my feet way too close to like a fire ring, and they're just burning. I am definitely experiencing that brain fog. Like, I had no idea that I've been up for almost 3 hours. I've genuinely done nothing. I need to eat dinner. I made some tortellini last night, and I'm probably gonna be eating that. But I feel very out of it. And today I'm mostly struggling with pain. Yesterday was a lot of tics and stuttering. Today is pain, which I don't take really anything for pain. My baclofen does seem to help with a lot of the pain that I have, but it's not an end-all be-all, and it's not something that I can take long-term because you build up a tolerance for it, so you have to keep increasing the dosage, and I would like to eventually not have to be reliant on medications. But yeah, today just kind of seems like one of those days where my cognitive functions definitely declined, and I'm having a lot of pain, which is kind of how a lot of this started for me. Some of my first symptoms were tremor in my right leg and the dystonia in my foot and in my face. And now everything's pretty intermittent and triggered by something. So my face usually gets triggered by stretching out my feet or using my feet. And that starts the dystonia of my face in here. I still have some mild dystonia of my forehead, which I don't know if that's intermittent, because I tend to be really numb all the time in my face. And then like my hands and my feet constantly have dystonia. And dystonia is basically a fancy way of saying like the muscles are really tense. It increases the tone of the muscle, which every muscle needs a certain amount of tone. Like your the muscles for your neck, like your trapezius and your levator and like all those muscles, you need a certain amount of tone in them to keep your head up, right? So like that's why when people go unconscious, their heads kind of dangle and bob around because they've lost tone because they're unconscious. Or like when you lift somebody's arm up and it falls. So a lot of what I am experiencing is a lot of the dystonia. So that's when the muscle has too much tone to support normal activity, and it actually is pretty disabling. I would say the dystonia is my most disabling symptom that I have. I've dealt with pain for a long time, and I'm pretty adamant about refusing pain medications. So I don't have, like, I can work through that and I can push through that. But the dystonia and my tremors definitely make things really difficult. And if anything is going to hold me back, which I don't even let it hold me back, but if anything is going to hold me back, it is going to be those two symptoms. I have found those to be the ones that I have the hardest time managing. My catatonia generally only pops up every once in a while, and it doesn't last nearly as long as it did when I first started having that symptom. Because when I first started having catatonia, it was mostly upon waking up, and I wouldn't be able to sit up, open my mouth, open my hands for minutes at a time. And that, to me, I don't know how it feels for other people, but for me, it genuinely felt like my body would become weightless, but like I was drowning in cement at the same time. Because when I'm like when you hold your arm up, like you can obviously like feel like your shoulder activating, but when I deal with catatonia, I don't feel those muscles activating. It's like everything's activated all at the same time, but I don't actually have my mind to muscle connection with it. It's very weird and it's very scary. I can't imagine people who suffer with like schizophrenia who are in like chronic catatonic states. I do not wish that upon my worst enemy. It is absolutely terrifying. And I would say that that was kind of the one symptom that made me genuinely think that I was dying when I first had this flare-up, because you wake up and you're unable to do anything. It's terrifying. But my camera's gonna die, so I'm gonna conclude this for today, because I don't really plan on doing much of anything, and I think my symptoms are what they are. So I will check back in with you guys tomorrow, and if I charge my camera, I'll check in with you before I go to bed.